This is Hurdles and Ladders, a segment of FS Family Life TV with Flores, Honorable Ezu, a true life experience of his teen births and 10 miscarriages. It is a journey through the bears, sorrow, and triumph of motherhood. Journey with us through this life-changing experience. An experience, yet also manifestation and expression of God's power, mercy, and favor. I bet we will have no choice but to join us to glorify this awesome God.
Hello viewers, you're on to FS Family Life TV. You're welcome to the very first episode of one of our segments, Hurdles and Ladders. It is my story, my true life experience, a journey of the pains, the tears, and the sorrow of a triumphant woman. It is a walk through the trials and triumph of womanhood. My name is Florence Honorable Ezu. As I said, in this segment, Hurdles and Ladders, I will share my personal experience with you. There is no spice added, no exaggerations, it's just my true experience. Hurdles and Ladders is a weekly series. It is a must-watch for all adults, ladies, wives, and everyone that is confronted with the terrible hurdles of life. I don't know what your hurdles are, but believe me, there are ladders between those terrible hurdles. My story will help you find them. Once again, I'm your host, Florence Honorable Ezu. I am happily married with two wonderful children. That is my husband. He is loving, caring, supportive, and fun to be with. And that is Flora, my first daughter. She is 11 years old and will be 12 1st of October, a few months from now. And this is Samuel, my jewel. He's a year and 6 months old. We also named him Jaden. He is such a sweet boy. Besides being an entrepreneur, I'm an athlete. I play field hockey. I played for Theta Queens for several years, and I led them to the 2011 edition of the National Sports Festival, where we won gold. I also played for numbers of states in Nigeria: Kada Queens of Kaduna State, Yobe Queens of Yobe State, Edo Queens of Edo State, Imo Flickers of Imo State, both in national and international levels. I also represented my country Nigeria in major tournaments, traveling from one country to the other: Africa Cup for Club Championship, ACCC, Africa Cup of Nations, Olympic qualifiers, to mention but a few. Most importantly, I am a child of God, a worker in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, a student teacher, and a volunteer usher. Back to my story. Excuse me. To the glory of God, Stan and I got married in early 2012, and I had my first child, Flora, late that same year. Everything seemed rosy. Hubby tried as much as possible to avail himself during the gestational period, assisting with chores and other activities that I ought to have muzzled up to do. Flora's delivery was easier than I thought, based on movies and popular opinions, but not without the labor pains, which was quickly forgotten at the arrival of my pretty baby girl. Hubby had dreamt of a baby girl when I was barely 3 months gone. There and then, he named her Flora. Why Flora? I queried. I was with a pretty baby girl in a flower garden, and she called me Dad, he added. Actually, I love the name Flora. It sounds like mine, Florence. Coincidentally, Flora was born on the 1st of October, Nigeria's Independence Day. Some people have the opinion I would name her after Flora Shaw, the wife of Sir Frederick Lugard, who gave our country the name Nigeria. Others say we named her after my name. But remember, I was barely 3 months gone when hubby dreamt of her, and then he named her Flora. Motherhood was not as easy as I thought. She was my first child, my first experience, and I was in my mid-20s. However, with the help of family and friends, I didn't feel the effect that much. They were often around helping out with the chores. Flora was barely 1 year old when I took in for a support sister. Hubby and I didn't see it coming, but we were happy. It was not as easy as the first because I was still breastfeeding her. The stress of waking up in the night to breastfeed her and still attend to routine chores in a day almost drove me nuts. Although hubby helped out when he was available. The first trimester came with the usual morning sickness and tiredness, and this made me to register for antenatal on time. Flora was in a teething stage and she often had temperature. Some women are of the opinion that her health condition was as a result of the early pregnancy. People and superstitions. Anyway, I didn't believe them because the Bible says the power of life and death lies on the tongue. I always proclaim good health on my kids, even on my husband, and that is what I always get. Towards the end of the second trimester, I felt a bit better. My tummy had started bulging out, and my hidden body button obeyed itself. At 6 months, I was supposed to feel the baby's rapid movement, but it wasn't so. Flora at that stage kicked like an athlete. Hubby and I thought I was pregnant with a set of twins. I visited my doctor and I made my observations known to him. He smiled and said the baby was fine. I monitored the baby's movement every now and then, and I noticed that it was dropping continuously. At 6 months and few weeks, I could hardly feel the movement. I knew something was wrong. My doctor finally looked into my case after a separate examination. He was unsure of what was happening. I saw doubts on his face, but he tried to conceal it with a superficial smile. He asked me to go for a scan, and at once my blood pressure rose. I was with my little girl Flora. Hubby had gone to work. As I was going for the scan, I put a call through to him. Please meet me at Prestige Laboratory, I told him, sounding unsure. I had a scan, still waiting for hubby's arrival. Madam, did you fall? The radiologist asked. No, I didn't. I replied. Did you bleed at any time? He added. No, I didn't. I replied to him. His questions were not what I wanted to hear at that point in time. What did you eat? He asked. What is the problem? I asked him instead of asking his odd questions. It was then he told me that the baby was no more. I was shocked and confused. I couldn't really tell if I was dreaming or not. Not so long, my husband arrived. I told him the result wasn't for me before giving them to him. He advised we see another radiologist, which we did. After the scan, he told me the baby was fine. My spirit returned and I took a deep breath. I became more confused when he asked me to wait at the reception where my husband should stay to get a printed copy of the scan result. I knew something was wrong and I knew that it had to do with the baby. My mood changed at once. I started running temperature and same time feeling feverish. After a while, my husband exited the lab, walking towards my course. I saw him follow the scan result and pocketed it. He looked at me wearing a pretentious smile. I could see the pains behind the smile. After all, he is my husband. The baby is gone, isn't she? I asked. No, he replied. Let's go back to the hospital. He added. Hubby had named her Lisa, which means consecrated to God. An early scan had revealed access to us. I demanded to see the scan results. My husband stylishly declined my request and said it was not important, and it changed the topic of our discussions. At the hospital, my husband handed the scan result to the doctor, and I watched the doctor in dismay as he read through it. Madam, he called. I only answered him with my eyes fixed on his. The one that will stay will come. At first, I didn't cry. I was in shock, like a patient in coma. I watched the doctor and his nurse in dumb silence as they discussed. I was later given some drugs and asked to come later that day for evacuation. My baby is still alive. I unconsciously spoke out my thoughts. My husband tried to console me, but I refused to be consoled. We left the hospital and when we got home, I also refused to eat. My husband could not return to work because he had to stay with me. I put my faith into actions, and also I called my pastor, who later came with his wife. He prayed earnestly for God's interventions and later left. After a long while, I woke up to reality. Baby Lisa was gone. Our 7-month relationship just came to a sudden end. I did not even have the opportunity to meet her for a minute. What a sad end. To cut the long story short, the evacuation was done and successful, and the following day I was discharged. I got home, walked to the corner, prepared for her, and cried uncontrollably. I visited this room for several days, repeating my actions. I cried and consoled myself since I was the only one at home. Hubby had gone to work, and Flora, she had to go to school. Weeks later, I put myself together and tried to make myself happy once again. Viewers, so sorry, this episode has to end here, but I bet you it has just begun. This is just a tip of the iceberg. Remember, we are on a journey of 1 stillbirth and 10 miscarriages. When storms range, they come successively. You won't want to miss the event that unfolded after this. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my page. Remember, we are not just telling stories, we are touching lives. See you in the next episode. God bless you.